Hey everybody, this is Frederick Jones, publisher of Saturday AM, as well as some of our other publications, including Saturday Plus. And this is our regular Saturday show, Saturday Q&A, basically answer questions in relation to and talk about, what we do with our company in terms of making exciting manga web comics for fans around the world, and conversely talk about some of the things that we have going on in terms of contests for submissions for things like our writers contest and our test flight contest and things of that nature. So today's episode really is focused around a bit more detail of our newest competition, which is called the Writers Challenge. It's something that many people have been asking us to do, something that related to writers in particular, as opposed to just comic artists, and then likewise, a way to actually engage writers which in the world of webcomics is really kind of an afterthought because it tends to be something that's focused around producing content specifically for people who are doing both the writing and the art. So we're going to talk about the new writers contest today. We'll talk about what we've got coming up this weekend for Saturday AM, and we'll touch on some other things as well. So more just starting out real quickly, just give you guys a heads up. As I always do, it's we're a very small company. We've been active since late 2013. So of course we don't have the best technology in place. Currently, you can see here we've got a screen share, and this is typically how we do some of our YouTube shows. So unfortunately, we don't have any special graphic elements that we can do right now, but we will be looking to upgrade our YouTube experience soon. We're working with some new staff that actually are focused on helping us create a more comprehensive YouTube experience. So again, thank you for checking us out, and for those of you who are new, do know that we certainly are trying to improve every piece of what we're trying to do overall. Simply takes time, and we have grown so rapidly that we're pretty excited about where we're going in terms of just the overall presentation of what we do with Saturday AM. It's very rainy here in North Carolina, so I don't know if any of you guys watching this are on the East Coast, but it is extremely rainy, cold, and so it's a bit of a miserable day. But in the midst of all this we have this weekend, we have a lot of new things happening. We have updates to our marketplace, which is our storefront, which features all original designs for our characters and our creators. Everything from apparel to where you can officially buy our books and other things. So we do have that coming this weekend, the latest update to the marketplace. We also have, more importantly, Saturday AM issue number 34. As you can see here, issue 33 is from last week. Issue 34 is in the midst of being completed, so that will come out at some point this weekend for subscribers and for those who'd like to purchase it. Issue 34 features the debut of Monster Society of America, and I'll screen share some of that artwork here soon. And then likewise features the final installment of our original series featuring an African American lead female character, something that you just don't see in manga enough. Clock Striker. This series has done very, very well for us, and so it wraps up its short story in this issue number 34, coming out later this weekend, and we will have a note in there about when you can expect to see Clock Striker again. So we're really excited about Monster Society of America, our newest manga, Clock Striker, one of our most recent manga that has really caught on with a lot of people. And then likewise, people who subscribe to the magazine will also have a chance to get Saturday Plus, which is a sister publication, and that includes content from a bunch of brand new creators. If you are unfamiliar with us, as you can see here on the website, on the top banner here, you've got 4 of our top series that run regularly inside of Saturday AM. We are a digital manga publication, very similar to Shonen Jump, and we feature some original manga-inspired series that come from creators all over the world. So if you look at the first series there on the left, that is Ayumi, who's the lead character of a series called Saigami. Think kind of like Legend of Korra meets a little bit of Inuyasha in terms of the love triangle. Very awesome series. It's about to really kickstart into a fantastic new arc, and the creator of that is a young lady from Hungary. Next to her, the gentleman wearing the green vest is Isao. He is the Bully Eater. This is a series, one of the first series that we started running, and this is from an African-American creator named Raymond Brown. Again, very proud of the series. It's fun, just a great fun series, and we've had a lot of people who discovered us via that. Next to it on the other side of the Saturday AM logo is Islanders. That is the lead character, Turbino, from this series. And Islanders is actually from a Cuban creator named Leonardo Massip. Islanders is very distinctive for us because not only is it just gorgeous series artistically and completely out there in terms of the storyline, it's just kind of fun, wacky, story. What really makes Islanders amazing is that Leo, we discovered him via Pilot Manga, which we're going to talk about today. So he's actually an original webcomic creator discovered by Saturday AM and brought to the public via Saturday AM. And so we're really excited to publish Islanders. Islanders will be returning to Saturday AM. It took a brief hiatus after a marathon run that he had, and so he'll be coming back around issue number 36. Finally, at the top there, you see Apple Black. That's the character wearing the blue tunic on the right. Apple Black, if you do not know what it is simply one of the most popular manga webcomics online anywhere in the world. Not only is it gorgeous to look at and just an amazing series, but the part that really makes it amazing is that it's a series from a creator from Nigeria in Africa. It's just something that you simply would not expect to see when you think about traditional manga. This is a phenomenal looking series, and so the fact that we have this series exclusively and White Manga is one of our principal creators really just provides us a great deal of opportunity. So many people discover us through this series, and it's a really, really strong series at that. So again, this is Saturday AM, but this is certainly not all of Saturday AM. As I indicated before, we've been around since late 2013. We've had well over a dozen creators appear inside of the magazine, and not just that, but our website, which you see here on the screen, is home to several manga series that, again, are all exclusive. You can only find them on Saturday-AM.com. And so we're really proud of our approach to webcomics because not only do we do the digital magazine, not only do we discover original creators around the world, giving them an opportunity to present their stuff for the first time, but we have series that really just are from so many diverse characters and individuals from around the world. So here on the, if you hit the Read Manga link, you can just see again all the different series that we offer, and some that aren't even here, by the way. But Spoon here in the top right corner is an amazing series, completely free. You can read it for free. There's over 34 chapters there. Storybook is by Andrew Sterling. Another amazing series, 35 chapters, completely free. Z Forever, one of our most popular series that appears exclusively on the website. That is available completely free, 13 chapters there. Comet Man, if you love stuff like Steven Universe, you've got to check out Comet Man. Remedium Plus, again, coming from the world of Pilot Manga, our exclusive community for up-and-coming creators. Remedium Plus is astonishing. It is so good. It is so self-assured, some fantastic artwork, fantastic concept. It's just completely original. That again, when you see just all these various series that we are engaged with, for us it's really exciting because we've tried to take a different approach to do webcomics. We're not a place where everybody in the world uploads their webcomics like so many other websites. We take a very targeted approach to what we're trying to do, and we're interested in trying to produce content that is original and doesn't feel derivative, hits various genres, and features really unique and fantastic artwork, and more importantly is just good storytelling. And so we're really excited to be here, to do what we're doing. We've made such incredible strides in the last year. So many of you guys have been a big part of that, and we have huge plans for the remainder of the year in 2016. So So again, if you aren't familiar with us, please do us a favor. Go to www.saturday-am.com. I swear I haven't been drinking so anything but coffee, but clearly I'm not on my game tonight. But if you go to our website, tell friends about it. But check us out. A lot of free content there to read. And more importantly, if you enjoy what we're doing, you want to support the sort of creative spirit that we're trying to engender for the webcomic community and webcomics in general, then support us. We have several different ways you can support us, but the biggest way, the most successful way that we've been able to create is to subscribe, and that gets you the digital magazine, gets you a lot of content before everyone else. You can buy individual issues. You can see here for just $1.99. That puts us on par, by the way, with so many major comic companies who sell digital comics. Our comic books, our digital magazines are every bit as sophisticated and quality as any of the major companies. But the fact of the matter is that you get a lot of content each issue for just $1.99, and beyond that, you can subscribe. And the best part is you can subscribe for, as you can see here, just $5 a year. That is astonishing. That we offer 20 issues of full content for just $5 a year. A lot of people thought we were crazy for doing it, but again, it's proven to be incredibly successful. It's given so many people a chance to check us out, to follow us, to support up-and-coming creators like Leonardo Messick or Frederick Ward, people who are just getting started, by allowing us to maintain a really amazing website experience and other stuff that we're doing. So again, if you want to support us at the base level, just $5 gets you a subscription for an entire year, gets you 20 issues of Saturday AM, and if you really want to support us and take it to the next level, you can do $25 a year, gets you early access to our sister publication, Saturday Plus, which features all brand new original creators that you may not have ever seen before, more than likely you've never seen before, and you also get some extra goodies that we're sending out to people ending in October. So really excited. Again, we've got a lot of great things happening, and we so appreciate everything you guys have done for us. So if you're new, thanks for checking us out. Now we've got all that out of the way. I know it's a long kind of introduction, but wanted to make sure that we had a chance to do that. Now we can just jump right in and start talking about a couple of things that we wanted to address. The first is, again, Pilot Manga. If you are not familiar with Pilot Manga, if you know about us or if you're just learning about us and you're like, hey, I want to put my webcomic with these guys, we created a community called Pilot Manga to do two things, really. One was to serve as a realm for serious webcomic creators, and by serious we don't mean that that other websites aren't serious. What we mean is that the way that we try to produce our content, the tactics that we take, requires a certain dedication to how we're trying to do it. And so for the creator who's really engaged in that type of consistency and that type of deadline approach and things of that nature, we wanted to put together a community that could actually speak to that creator, because we saw, even for our own creators, before they joined with Saturday AM, so many of them just had different experiences with different websites, and so we wanted to create a community that really reflected what our objectives were about. Second of all, we wanted to create a community that would allow us to actually be able to handle submissions, because we have so many people who send us content and wants us to publish their stuff, and we're just not in a position to do that. We're not big enough. We don't have enough manpower. So ultimately, with Pilot Manga, not only do we get a chance to help establish a very strong community that can share information regarding how to make webcomics better, but we also put ourselves in a position where we can look at new talent and work with them to develop their talent for Saturday AM and Saturday Plus. So Pilot Manga is a page you would go to. You can find it on the navigation bar on our website. And as you go to that, you can see here we produce these contests called Test Flight, which are really kind of a sophisticated sort of contest where we challenge creators, particularly artists, as we look at different things that help us determine or help challenge our artists' ability to actually get things done. And so we to produce the best webcomic they can. And so we're trying to put together a really sophisticated group ideas there, and the contests have proven to be very successful, both in terms of people entering them as well as the actual videos that we do, where we have live critiques of those submissions. And so it's something, again, that's very different from a lot of the standard comic companies that are out there. I don't know if it's the best method, but it works for us. And again, a lot of people really enjoyed watching the videos. So again, you can see here a whole list of the videos that we've got. Our final test flight will actually take place in October. And so if you are interested in the test flight for October, you can click the button here that you see very in the center, and that will enable you to actually get the rules for the October test flight. It's a very significant test flight because the winner of that test flight will actually be taken and used as part of an anthology we're producing exclusively for Christmas. And so, so definitely highly recommend you check out that particular rules. And if you have any questions, of course, for any of the stuff we're talking about today, you can submit them via our Facebook fan page, which is www.facebook.com/SaturdayAM. You can do so if you're a member of our Pilot Manga community as well on Facebook. Likewise, you can post any comments or questions on our YouTube channel. So several ways to get in touch with us. If you have the Google Chrome OS and you're doing this via Hangout, there's an application in the Chrome browser called Q&A. You can actually pose questions there also. But again, the October test flight rules, we're very excited about that. We think it's going to be our biggest test flight of the year. And the fact that we actually will publish your work in an upcoming major event like the Christmas special is something that's really significant for people. So we hope that everyone has a chance to check that out. I think the deadline is October 17th, so we'll certainly be looking for you to check that out. But beyond that, the big thing is the Writers Challenge 2015. You can see right here that I'm going to go ahead and click that. And that's going to be the first thing we discuss today. We actually have some questions already built for this, but I want to run through the rules of the Writers Challenge. Let me say first and foremost that the reason we are doing a Writers Challenge is because we've got so many people in webcomics who are writer-artist combinations. And as we said before, many of them are amateurs to begin with. And so what we found when we try to work with creators to produce content for us is that there is a real kind of challenge in there with the creator of these properties, you know, for the first-time creators at that, really struggling with being able to tell a story. And so I talk a lot about this in some previous videos about how, you know, if you're an artist and you can draw a picture, and you can draw a really good picture, that does not make you a comic book artist, because drawing one picture that's gorgeous, it could be, you know, Da Vinci level or Michelangelo level sculpted quality of an individual image, but when it comes to actually telling a story panel to panel to panel, that is a particular skill set you have to have. And if you don't have that skill set, or if you're not interested in that, then that's just not going to help you become a comic creator, a comic storyteller. You're an illustrator, but you're not a comic storyteller. And you know, we found that this was particularly true when it came to the comic creator who would approach us for webcomics, who is a writer and an artist. And because, you know, and they were typically a writer mainly because they didn't have anyone else to write their book. They were a writer because they really don't tend to not have a strong understanding or, frankly, opinion about being a writer in and of itself. And so what that means is that oftentimes we get ideas that were just ideas, and they were brilliant ideas, fantastic concepts, but they simply weren't actual stories that you could tell. At the minute you said, okay, why does this character do this, or what happens after that, then we would discover that the writer-artist would be very lost. And in some cases they get frustrated and would be unable to actually even do the story that they had wanted to do for months, if not years, because they just simply got caught in the ability of actually having to think in a linear way towards telling the story, which all writers have to do. So we really wanted to put some attention to writers. We have a small contingent of writers in our Pilot Manga group, but we also, again, as part of Pilot Manga's mission, we wanted to shine a light on writing to begin with in general, because we felt like a lot of webcomics and a lot of webcomic sites, for whatever reason, just weren't approaching this subject in any serious way. There are some artists out there who are phenomenal artists that we've said no to because at the end of the day, the artists just, they can't tell a story. They're not a writer. And we want to try to empower and make the writer more of a hero so that up-and-coming artists, up-and-coming creators who wish to be writer artists will actually say to themselves, you know what, I actually want to pair myself with a writer. I've got a great idea. I know I'm a good artist, but I know I need a writer, and I want to get a writer because I want my story to be the best it can be. And that takes a lot of maturity. It takes a lot of confidence. It takes a lot of the webcomic community in general shining a light on writers and saying you matter in the process. This is not just an artistic forum where people who have general ideas can just do a general webcomic and get success. If the industry of webcomics are going to be taken seriously, it means the stories have to actually be good. It means that we actually have to aspire to have concepts that ring true for a lot of communities. If you've watched the videos before, you've heard me talk a lot about how we're looking for people who are fans of the business of webcomics, not fanboys or fangirls of Dragon Ball Z or Naruto or things like that. And true to form, we get so many submissions that are literally Legend of Korra or Dragon Ball Z and Naruto and or Final Fantasy, and it's like they can't work for us, at least, because we know that eventually that creator will find a new inspiration, and if they don't know how to tell a story, once they find a new inspiration, they'll stop working on the webcomic. So we put together this challenge to really try to focus on the writers, and we're really proud of the contest that we've got developed here. We think it's going to be something that is going to really facilitate not only a fun experience for writers, but something that for a lot of the artists who are in our community and around webcomics, particularly for action type of manga, they're going to look at that and go, yeah, you know what, yes, I would like to work with this guy who's the writer of this contest, whoever won this contest, because that was a great concept they did, and I can tell that they're really focused on how to tell the story. So we hope that's what happens. You can see here that in the Rules of Our Writers Contest, we have some great artwork here by James A., who is one of our creators who's working on a big series for us for 2016. He did this great little image that we put some text to. It's a guy kissing a young lady's hand, and he's trying to give her a pickup line, and she, of course, thinks it's gross, and now he talks about how he wishes someone could tell him what to say. We thought that was just a funny explanation as to what we're dealing with when it comes to webcomics and trying to make the webcomics actually significant, not just pretty art to look at, but actually having the characters have relevant things to say. So let's jump into the rules here. And again, if you have questions, you can feel free to post them on our Facebook fan page. You can post them on our YouTube. You can post them in the Q&A of our Google Hangouts chat, or you can post them in our private Pilot Manga group on Facebook. So the rules for the Writers Challenge are: number one, you must be a member of Pilot Manga. So as I've talked about before, with the Pilot Manga, you actually have to become a member of Pilot Manga, number one. So if you want to join Pilot Manga on this page that we're on, the Pilot Manga page, you have to actually click the request membership button, and you'll be taken to the page to actually become a member of Pilot Manga. We do approve everyone who wants to become a member of Pilot Manga, really for the main reason that we want to make sure that we have, again, people who are being serious about wanting to do webcomics, not have any people who are there to do other things or try to spam the people that we have in our group. And likewise, we also want to make sure we've got the people who say they're, we want to make sure we know who's in the group, because we don't want people stealing each other's ideas or stealing each other's artwork, which happens a lot on the web. So we want to make sure that we have a community that we can trust. So you must be a member of Pilot Manga. And number two, you must submit all materials via Dropbox. And so this, again, is something that we see a lot in webcomics when it comes to people trying to submit stuff. They just send things. They send things for some reason via email. And email is such a dangerous proposition nowadays. There's so many ways in emails for people to end up getting caught or get viruses, all sorts of things that just are can really cause a problem for the sort of content they're trying to produce. So we prefer to have things via Dropbox so people can send things to us in a protected way. It can be checked for viruses, and it's not being downloaded to somebody's computer. And so, again, we highly recommend stuff be sent via Dropbox. We won't accept it any other way. And in this particular case, we have 3 formats we accept. So we only accept .doc, which is typical on most Windows Office sort of platforms. .text, which is the standard that most text should be sent to if it's going to have anything to do with online presentation. That removes all sorts of formatting and stuff to the paper, to the words, so that people can read them no matter what computer they're on. And last is .pdf, which is also, again, a very strong protected format to make sure that whatever you've typed and presented is there. It's not going to get corrupted because someone's on a Chrome OS system or on a Macintosh system if you did your work in Word. So next up we talk about you must provide a pitch for your series concept. So the pitch is really something, if you hit the link, it actually takes you on the page to a written document that we talk about, and I hope people will do that. We actually explain pitch in a lot of detail, but pitch is essentially, if you look at the way things are done in Hollywood, pitch is a really specific concept for being able to explain your idea in a way that is not going to take a great deal of time. If you've got, for example, a movie executive, and he's literally walking, in a hallway, and you have to catch him, and you're able to maybe get a couple of seconds of his time to talk about your movie script idea. You want to make sure that you can do that in a way that is actually going to excite his attention or her attention, and make sure that she or he wishes to read your script. Just giving them a script is not going to do it. 9 times out of 10, just giving someone a script is not going to make them want to read your concept. So from that standpoint, we talk a lot about pitch, and we want to see a pitch here which would demonstrate to us that someone actually has a firm idea of what their series is about. And the pitch basically is you take a concept, you marry it with another concept, and that gives people an idea of what your basic series is about. So if you have a concept where a pitch that we talk about, for example, is I've got a series called The Forgotten that I did as a video game years ago, and that is something that we'll be publishing at some point in the future. But the basic concept of it was superheroes meets Jurassic Park. So it was basically the idea that, if you think about superheroes meets Jurassic Park, your mind starts racing to Jurassic Park. You know what Jurassic Park's all about. It's a theme park where dinosaurs are, things go wrong, and superheroes. So you substitute the dinosaurs with superheroes, and you've now got something that it doesn't give you exactly the plot, but immediately your mind starts to race with the possibilities. So we try to look for things like that, where we try to take basic concepts. Again, it can be anywhere from 4 to 6 words, but we're looking for a basic concept meets another concept that can really expand the overall idea of your series enough that it intrigues somebody. So again, it's not 5 concepts, it's not 3 concepts, it's 2 concepts. One meets the other, and that should in some way be able to provide a really unique discussion about your concept. So again, if we were talking about Naruto, you would say ninjas meets Harry Potter. And that's a pretty apt description of Naruto when you think about it. We could, use so many other examples, but I think that really provides a strong sense of what a pitch can do, and it shows us that there's a sense of thought on your end about exactly what the series could and should be like. The fourth rule for the contest is you must provide a 1-page plot treatment for your series. This means that you would detail the series plot, so like what's the overall plot of the series, not over 80 chapters or over 1,000 chapters, but just what's the basic idea of the series, what's the backstory, so like how does this world work so that we understand why this series exists. And then last but not least is character description. Who are some of the main characters and what's unique about them? Again, the rule is all about 1 page only. So why would we do 1 page only? The reason is that we want to have a scenario where, as I talked about before, and this is also a link that you can hit, that you don't get stuck like so many webcomic creators do, where you think that backstory equals plot. It doesn't. So we've had so many creators who have not been able to go to mature past a certain point with us via pilot manga, because you can tell they put a lot of ideas into the backstory, and they can tell you all about who this character is, why that character hates this other character, what this character eventually will learn about themselves, this, that, and the other. But when it comes to actually telling the story about what happens in that first chapter, they're dumbfounded. Like, it's like they can't look at the specifics of how to tell a story from beat to beat to beat. And we see this so frequently, and you see this in so many webcomics as well on other websites, hence why so many other websites have webcomics that never finish. They never finish because there's no story there. It's just kind of like a really neat concept, a lot of background ideas, but nothing that is relevant to actually tell a story. And so we ask, therefore, then, that you have to be forced to have to produce something in one page. And this is a lot of stuff you have to produce. We're looking for a series concept. We're looking for the series plot, we're looking for the backstory, so tell us a bit about the world and the concept around it, and then likewise character description. So just to be clear, if we were talking about this in the context, again, of something popular like Naruto, your series plot would basically be, it's about a kid who wants to become the king of the Hokages. He never knew his parents. He's hated and shunned, but, and he's not the smartest person in the village. But he perseveres. He fights hard. He's willing to do the hard things for the right reasons, and that is the journey he goes on to try to become a Hokage. That's a series plot. And that's basically the plot of Naruto. The backstory is he's got a demon spirit fox inside of him, and the demon spirit essentially killed his parents, and so all of that ended up coming apart of Naruto's power that he has, that he actually can use, that allows him to, to get more powerful than any other ninja. Likewise, the village of the Hokages are a series of villages where the ninja basically are like a warring army for the feudal lords, and so it takes place in a world where there's no like Japan, there's no Europe, there's no Americas, so it's kind of like a fantasy land. That's all backstory, and again, it can be summed up pretty succinctly. You don't need to have 3 pages to give us the entire backstory. We just need the basic beats to understand how the world works for that series plot about a kid who wants to become the main ninja of his village. And last, character descriptions. Well, we'd learn about Naruto, we'd learn about Sasuke, we'd learn about Sakura, we'd learn about Kakashi, and we don't need to have an entire paragraph for each character. A couple of sentences really tells us all we need to know. Naruto's brash and not very bright, but his heart's in the right place, and he's tough because he's got the demon fox. Sakura is in love with Sasuke, but she's very self-conscious because she's got a big forehead. But and her parents are together, so she doesn't really have a lot of angst. But Sakura is through and through a ninja. She knows that she has to work hard because as a girl, people probably won't take her very seriously, so she does that. Again, it's like very basic, to the point kind of ideas about the characters, and all of that would be your one-page plot description. And again, all of that, by doing that, would really help solidify the concept, so that you're not stuck in this backstory hell that so many creators get stuck in trying to tell a story. The 5th rule is you must provide 2 scenes. And those scenes are 3 pages each in full panel-by-panel breakdown. So these scenes can be from anywhere in the story that you've got. They can be from the beginning of the story. They can be in the middle of the story. We do say that they need to be advancing the plot. So they just can't be scenes where 2 characters sitting around talking about nothing. They need to advance the plot so that we can see, first of all, your plot in action, and 2, we can see the characters actually interacting with each other. Because what we were trying to see here is really just a sense of how you handle that point-to-point sort of storytelling we're talking about. It's one thing to have ideas, which is the backstory. It's another thing to actually be able to execute the idea into a workable story. So here again, we can see things like your dialogue. We can see things like how you craft a scene. Because you're going to be going panel by panel by panel. So we're going to see exactly how you tell a scene. From the from one panel to the next. And that's going to tell us a lot about your ability to actually write a comic book story. The last piece of that is we want to see a one-page interview with yourself. And this one is basically, we want you to act like you are being interviewed by somebody else. So this is not you interviewing yourself. We want you to do a little bit of role play. We want you to interview yourself as if you were actually interviewing, if you become a major webcomic creator on our website, on another website, and now people are writing you trying to learn things about you. And so in that context, people are going to ask you questions and get a sense of who you are and what you're about. And so from that standpoint, imagine that you're writing that story. Imagine that you're interviewing yourself. And so you're in a position to basically have to answer those questions. What questions would you ask yourself, and what would your answer be? So we want to get a sense here. It's a little bit of role play, but it gives us a sense of how you actually look at the overall idea of being able to communicate about your series to consumers. How would you talk about your series from a marketing standpoint? We used to do something for test flights where we basically say do an ad. This is somewhat similar in a sense. Again, this requires so many different elements of creativity, of writing, of marketing, and things of that nature. So that's why we have this in as a sixth rule. So those are all the rules that we have. Now, there is a final rule, and I'll talk about that one in just a second. As we scroll down, if you're on this page, the one thing that you will see here is you see here at page 2 a little graphic that actually shows you how we handle panel-by-panel breakdowns. And this is actually a panel-by-panel breakdown that I did for No to Heaven, which is our upcoming horror series that will be debuting in the next issue number 35, not this coming issue now. So, this should give you a sense of how to construct a basic page of content. How you have to set up a scene, which you have to describe, how you describe it for your artists, all this stuff. So all that being said, and then we'll get to some questions here, the last rule that we have, and this is one that we're particularly excited about, is once you've submitted those 6 things that we asked for, once you've gone through all 6 of those rules that we established, the final rule is that you must letter 2 pages of comic art. Lettering, of course, is where you actually fill in, you actually create the word balloon, it goes onto the comic art panel, and you say this character's saying this character's saying that. You actually put that into the page. And there's a specific reason why we're wanting writers to do this. Again, we see so many creator groups, creator teams that come through Saturday AM who are, one guy's a writer, one guy's an artist. And again, time and time again, the writer, in so many cases at least, does not appear to be on top of the sort of things that we expected them to be on. So the writers just simply are not at the level that we thought they would be at, and that includes what they're doing for the artist. So the artist is actually drawing all the comic pages and so forth, and they're producing marketing material and so forth, and the writer basically just sends them a concept that doesn't even consist of the panel-by-panel breakdown, and the artist draws this, and eventually the artist gets tired. We've seen it time and time again where the artist gets frustrated because they're like, I'm doing all this work. We think that it'll be very interesting to see a writer actually supplement the work for creating the comic book with the artist by actually taking the artwork and having to go in and provide dialogue on the page in the form of actual speech bubbles. And so we think this is a really interesting thing. We're really excited about this because we think it's going to challenge the writer in really a couple of ways. One is just in work. I mean, again, having ideas and not being able to execute them is not work. So, once you get down to the level of actually having to execute ideas the way that we're talking about, but then likewise executing ideas by adding specific elements into the actual artwork itself, that's a big deal. That's going to really change the dynamic of relationships between writers and artists. But likewise, past that is the basic idea that if you're actually going to do all of that, there's nothing worse than when a writer-artist combination, when the writer is giving this ridiculously heavy and over-the-top dialogue for the artist. So the artist has produced all this great artwork, and then the writer is actually telling him, okay, well, when you make this panel, it's going to have a ton of dialogue in here because I want to write a lot of dialogue. That's not really how a collaboration should work. It should be the case that you've got a story to tell first and foremost, and so you're working with your artist to create a story that actually is a story that actually has a beginning, a middle, and an end. But beyond that fact should be the idea that as you pull together the story, that when the artist finishes the artwork, that you should be able to go back in and say, okay, you know what, maybe I can change my dialogue here. You know what, the artist took a different approach to this page. It came out a little differently than I was thinking, so I want to change my dialogue a little bit. I want to take advantage of what the artist has given me in this case. And so I think that this is going to be something that I think we're going to be really impressed with the results of this, just because it's going to really challenge writers in a way that I don't think a lot of webcomics challenge them. So again, you know, we thought this would be a really revolutionary contest for several reasons, and this is the biggest aspect of that, is the fact that we want our writers in this contest to letter the comic as well. So this really challenges their ability to do dialogue, to be concise in their storytelling, and to be legitimately engaged in the art the same way the artist is. So we're really excited about this contest. These are all the elements here. To be clear, the things that you can win, you can see here another fantastic piece of artwork by Getulio Hernandez, and another sort of gimmick where we're saying, what do you want me to say? So the really amazing thing here is that the rules that we've got established are two really big rules. I'm sorry, the prizes. I swear I'm sleepy. Evidently, I haven't been drinking it all day. But boy, this is a horrible YouTube chat because I just have been out of it. But the things that you win, you'll get a free print edition of an upcoming Saturday Tank. And so if you're not familiar with our Saturday Tanks, if you buy manga at your local bookstore, we are one of the few webcomic companies who actually takes all of our titles that we produce regularly, and we collect them into original graphic novel, what we call Saturday Tank versions. They are really handsome editions. They feature fantastic trade dress and extra material, so that when you're buying the book, you're actually not only supporting the creator, but you're getting the ultimate version of the content that you may have read either in our magazine or on the website. You also get a free basic subscription of Saturday AM, so you get 20 issues of Saturday AM for free. The big one are the last two prize options. Number one, we are looking for a writer for this series, God Arms by Getulio Hernandez. So this amazing artwork, we're looking for a writer for it. And so if you win this contest, you'll be given a chance to be potentially the writer for God Arms, which we expect to be one of our hot new series for 2016. Likewise, we have a brand new ebook line. We actually came out with it last year, but we'll be doing it bigger and better in 2016. It's going to be a line of novels, the same way that we do our graphic novel Saturday Tank books for Apple Black and Sagami and Bully Eater and so on and so forth. We're going to be doing Well Read, which is a line of original ebooks based entirely on either Saturday AM properties and or original properties from Saturday AM creators. We are so excited about this. We are so incredibly excited about this. And if you are a writer, this really speaks to something that I talked about earlier in this conversation. That again, if you're an artist and you don't like to draw panel to panel to panel, sort of sequential artwork, then you're not a comic book artist. You can be an artist, but you're not a comic book artist if you can't do sequential artwork. And again, if you're a writer and you can't write without an artist, if you have to have an artist who interpret your stuff, if you don't know how to tell a story, if all you are ideas and you don't actually know how to tell a story, like chapter 1, chapter 2, here's what happened on page 1, page 2, page 3. If all that stuff escapes you, if you don't write for a blog, if you don't conduct interviews for another website, I mean, so if you're a writer, there's no greater time to be discovered than today, because you've got websites who will gladly publish your stuff. You have sites like Facebook that you can post blog posts on and stuff. If you are not writing without having an artist, then I really question the fact of whether or not you're a writer. So Well Read, our new ebook line, is all about writers. The only thing that will be illustrated in that thing is the cover, and we'll be providing the cover and all the production materials. So we're really excited about Well Read. We're really excited about God Arms and another property we have coming out that we're looking for a writer for. And the Writer's Challenge is the opportunity to be that person. So those are all the rules for the Writer's Challenge. Again, I know I've been a little absent-minded as I was talking during this video, so I do appreciate everyone's patience. Give me one moment. I'm going to go ahead and start pulling up some of the questions because we did get several questions in while I was talking. I hope that answered a lot of questions. I'm sure it brought up more questions in, so I will address those here in just a moment. Just give me one moment. Let the site come up. Okay, so let's see. We've got a couple of questions here. So let's go to some of the first questions we've got here. So, all right. Of course, you finally get to hear my dog. So that part's always great when my dog starts barking in the middle of the night. Allie, quiet. All right, so first question we have here is from Adonis Rael. And this is a Saturday Marketplace, guys. I'm going to talk about this in just a moment. Let me get one of those first questions in here now. Adonis Rael says, I'm an artist, and I want to test out my writing skills. I think I'm well balanced at both, and I would like to see if I'm good as I think before I humble up and admit I might need a writer. Is that okay? So Adonis Rael is basically saying, hey, you know, I am a writer and I'm an artist. I would like to be more of a writer. I'd like to at least practice my writing skills. So is that okay? So here's how we answer that question, because we've had this question asked in a variety of ways. So I'd like to address this question now. We have a test flight that is running throughout this month into October 17th, and that is for a chance to be published in our upcoming Christmas special. And then, of course, the creators who place favorably within test flight, we end up working with for Saturday Plus, which is our sister publication that features it's an anthology publication dedicated entirely to original new up-and-coming creators. Okay, so that's number one. So because of that fact, because that you have a chance to be published without question, and the fact that you then will go into the process for Saturday Plus, all of that then is already significant. The Writer's Challenge, of course, is significant as well. We're talking about you're getting a lot of stuff. You're getting a chance to get a professional review for an ebook, for our new ebook line. You're getting a chance to become the writer of 2 very promising new properties we're working on. These are with major artists, by the way, Chatilo Hernandez, and the other one will be an original graphic novel we're going to do for Saturday Times called Annam. If you saw the interview of Jason Raphael in our in Saturday Plus issue number 10, then you know that this is Miyazaki level beautiful quality artwork. I'll show some artwork here of that in a minute. But so when you've got that going on, then Adonis's question, our answer to that is no. Really simply, no. You cannot participate in both. If you, this is again, it's what I've said before, and I've said this many times, so let me be very clear here. Part of the problem with webcomics and webcomics' inability to actually be effective is that not only is it something that the vast majority of fans and consumers do not take seriously, but the reason why it never seems to work or take off is because I think a lot of the creators don't take it seriously. They're really in this mode of, well, it's free, so I'm just going to do whatever I want to do. And that's perfectly okay. But that is also why, again, so many of our competitors, so many of the other websites that are out there for webcomics have a gazillion webcomics that never finish. You know, we pride ourselves on having a very low threshold for that sort of situation. You know, we have Apple Black, we have Saigami, we have Spoon and Storybook, series that have gone on for some time. Even our new series that are coming out, like Monster Society of America and No to Heaven, are coming from creators who are going to be producing these for quite a while. Islanders has already done more in its short life than most webcomics even do in a year. So with that, then let me say very clearly something I've said before. You cannot do all things. Not with us, you can't. If you are someone who wants to be a writer and you're talking to us about maybe volunteering to be an editor, you need to be an editor or a writer. You can't be both. If you are an artist who wants to be a writer, for your own series, well, that's for your own series, and that's something that you would do via test flights and knock yourself out. But if you are someone who wants to be a writer, then be a writer. You know, our belief in this is really strong because we feel as if, again, that the series never get to the level they could be at because, and we see it time and time again where a lot of the creators struggle. If you're an artist, let's face facts. If you're not an amazing artist, you know, if you're not White Manga, for example, then one of the things that happens is that your art, therefore, then is maybe not the thing that's attracting people to check out your stuff. And when everything is free, by the way, on the web, when you've got competition literally from everybody 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, then if you don't have artwork like White Manga or Andrea Voros or Leonardo Massip or Raymond Brown and so on and so forth, when you don't have something that's engaging from the get-go with the concept and the name and the art and the character designs, if all those things are missing from what you're producing and all you've got to hang your hat on is the story, and the story is suffering because you don't really know how to tell the story, you're going to kind of feel your way through it. Again, there are other websites that are probably built for you to do that. We're not the one. Because, again, our statistics and our data that we look at tells us that there is a large chance that you will never succeed with that. Mainly because as you're trying to perfect your artwork, which is what you know will get people to at least check out your stuff, that's the best advertising in the world is good artwork. And so if you've got a pretty decent level of artwork and a so-so concept and so-so writing ability, you're going to probably get a few people to check it out. The problem, of course, is that if you don't figure out how to write fast enough, then no one's going to stay long enough to make you successful. No one's going to buy a T-shirt from you. No one's going to subscribe to check you out on Patreon or whatever system you use because at the end of the day, people will come for the flash. You'll go see a movie because it's got great special effects. You'll buy a video game because it's got some really cool graphics and so forth. But if it does not compel you through the actual moments that matter, the individual moments in between the initial awe and the time you turn on that the time you turn off that console or stop watching that movie, if there's not enough there to kind of grab you, and that's usually the story or the gameplay and so on and so forth, if that stuff is not there, if the meat is not there, then the concept is gone, it's lost, and the consumer is out of there. They've got a hell of a lot of other options they can go to than that. So again, you know, we've got that question from Adonis. And I know Adonis wasn't asking it directly, but we've gotten a question from Adonis, and so many other people have asked us very similar questions. So I'll just say again, if you're trying to be a volunteer with us, be a volunteer. If you're trying to be a writer, be a writer. If you're trying to be an artist, writer combo, you go do test flight. Don't try to do both. First of all, we're not going to allow you to do both contests. So do the contest that you feel the most strong about, because we'd rather you put the best effort, and that's why we give you so much time to work on the contest. We'd rather you put your best effort into it. We posted our rules one day, and someone had literally sent us their writer submission that night. Now, again, you know, like I haven't looked at it yet, but I mean that to me is one of the things where it's like you clearly could not have put that much time into it. And we literally just dropped the rules, and you post your stuff like that. So again, it's one of those things where we want to see people really taking every single moment that they've got free to invest in perfecting a really good submission. Because otherwise, what's the point? What's the point? And we've seen it time and time again, where even if you happen to finagle your way into our good graces because you had a really neat concept, that you pulled together at the very last moment, even if that happens, when it comes time to really produce something for Saturday Plus, it just falls apart. It falls apart because you actually don't have the ability to tell a story. It was a half idea you had to begin with, and now that we actually have deadlines and all this other stuff that we do in Saturday Plus, it just falls apart. We've seen it. When we launched Saturday Plus last year, we had 4 creators, talented creators, Justin Anision, Dwayne Artbook Johnson. We had some really astonishing creators, people who I want to see their stuff. I still want to see their work. Only 2 are now a part of Saturday AM because the other 2 just were unable to make it happen. And these are guys who did very well in the test flight competitions, but neither one of them, Justin or David, could actually get through the process. They actually couldn't tell a story. And so again, this happens all the time. So don't try to cheat the system. Don't try to play both sides against each other. If you've got an idea, just do it. That's pretty much all you can do. Just do it. Stay committed to something and do it. That's the only way you'll make this thing work for you, is stay committed and do it. That's, you will never talk to a football player a professional football player who says, oh yeah, man, hedge your bets and do football and baseball. They may try it just to see if they can do it. They may try it because they truly love both sports. But at the end of the day, when they have to make the decision, because it really depends on where they're going to have a career, they're going to chop one of those away. They're going to chop one of those away, whether it's in high school or by the time you get to college. One of those things is going away. And if they happen to get through college, you can best believe they're not going to be playing both sports at the same time. So, again, be serious. Focus on what you actually are trying to do. That's the main thing I can tell you there. So right now we're on the Marketplace page. I want to take this moment just to talk about Marketplace. So as I said before, Saturday AM's mission, when we created our submission model, our subscription model, that is, our whole focus was just in the general idea of how do we get people to take webcomics more seriously? How do we support webcomics? Number one, we have some of the best creators, and we have them focus on telling the best stories. Number two, we go for diversity. We want creators who come from different backgrounds, who offer fresh perspectives, because it means the stories will be different. But likewise, we want to see more diversity of characters, and so you're starting to see that more with our series. We've got characters who are Latino, we have characters who are African American, we have characters who are gay, and so on and so forth. You're starting to see that because that's what we should be trying to do. That's the world we live in, and I reject traditional manga from Japan that doesn't feature characters of color. I think it's ridiculous, and we want to be the antecedent to that. Number three is that we created our subscription model. We said, you know what, our content's worth paying for, but it's worth paying for in a particular way. So what we're going to do with you is offer all of our content in a really premium format in terms of a digital magazine, and we're going to put it in such a way that when you decide to check it out, all you've got to do is pay $5. $5 for the year gets you the entire experience. You can pay more and you get more material for it, but to experience Saturday AM at its core, $5 gets you the digital magazine. And people who subscribe, for example, whenever we finish the issue this weekend, they'll get an email, it'll be available, they can check it out just like that. And they'll be able to go to that email, they'll be able to go to the library, the store online at any given time to do so as well. So we're really proud of that. But the final way that we decided to do that was with this brand new Marketplace. And this is where we want to be the home of webcomic-based T-shirts that feature the best approach and design of webcomic characters, the official home of Saturday AM web apparel and material. But we eventually will have this open to everybody. So whether you make a webcomic for another website, if you follow our guidelines and submit your material to us, we'll put it on our site, and you can make money. So you can see here we've got some fantastic shirts. We've got logo tees. These are T-shirts that take the logos of all of our series. And I will say again, I'll say this as well, that we have the best logos in the business. I know that people hate when I say crazy stuff like that, except it's not crazy. I mean, look at that. Look at Apple Black. Look at the Saturday AM logo. Look at Bully Eater, Spoon, which is one of my all-time favorite logos, Sagami, Blurds, Comet Man, which is other amazing logos. We just have some great, fantastic logos. We also have graphic tees. So these are T-shirts that basically are just kick-ass T-shirts that, again, come from a place of webcomic design. So these were all new designs from last week. We have a really cool Cyber Ninja mouse. We have Ruzaki from Apple Black. We have Once You Go Black, Apple Black logo. We have D's Nuts, the presidential contender, who I think every kid should be voting for. We have just so many cool T-shirts here that features all of our top characters. Z Forever, Remedium, Bully Eater. And more shirts are coming. Again, this weekend we'll have even more shirts coming. Saturday Tanks, this is where you can get our original graphic novels. So you've got Apple Black Volume 1. You can get for $8 for a 200-plus page book featuring some of the best story and art that you'll ever find online. Saigami, also some of the best story and art you'll ever find online, something that merges shoujo and shonen material for $6. And then two of the best deals, and we're going to be adding to the tanks this weekend, two of the best deals online right now. You get nearly 200-page books featuring Bully Eater or Z Forever, two of our best series, for just $5. A pre-order for just $5. You can't beat that. You cannot beat that. And we'll be adding a new pre-order this weekend for Storybook. Last but not least, we have Saturday Wars. We're going to be talking about the trading cards very soon, so I'm just going to say that who else does trading cards? We have trading cards coming soon featuring all of our top characters, You can collect them all. It'll be $10 a pack, and it's going to be quality, trading card quality stuff. I've never seen any other webcomic company do this. Certainly not the way we're doing it, and so really proud of this. So again, if you want to support Saturday AM, you can subscribe. You can buy books or shirts and so forth. But we're really trying to change the flow and change the whole concept of webcomics, making them appear more serious and have more scope to them than maybe what we've seen in the past. We're really excited about what we've done. We're excited about our fan base who covers the entire world. So again, when you think about all the sort of stuff that we talk about in Test Flight and the new Writers Challenge and in Pilot Manga, the way that we're so serious about how we take our material, this is the outcome of that. It's how we do all these things that a lot of other groups don't do. It just shows you, again, how serious we are. We update the marketplace every 2 weeks. So that's the last thing I want to say about talking about our marketplace store. Let's come back and address some more questions here. Let's see here. We got Andre Roberts saying he's loving the stream. Thank you, Andre. Let's see here. We've got John Mendoza posted a comment. He said that, let me come back here. So John Mendoza says, my questions are, when a pilot manga or a test run manga are greenlit as a series, is the creator does he have creative control over the manga, or is he just signed with an editor? Okay, and then he also asked about the storybook Tanks pre-order. Let me address. That's a great question, by the way, John. And John is one of our fans that I really appreciate. I don't know John. I've never talked to John, but John always pays us in the most powerful way you can pay a creator on a website, and that is that John, whenever we post concepts or ads, social media ads for our series like Storybook or Spoon or Medium Plus, John posts a comment letting us and those creators know that he actually liked what he read or likes the series. And we get people who can just press a like button, and we get a lot of likes, and so we know that we're catching on with people. We're covering our costs to run our operation thanks to our subscription sales and things like that. But it's little things like that where people actually just take the time to say that they appreciate what we're doing, that I think every creator just means more to them in many cases than money. My mother had this saying when I was growing up. She talked about how a good compliment is like a fresh gas tank, is like a full tank of gas in your car. It's like you can go. Whether you're working in the hot sun or, when I used to cut grass at my parents' house, by the way, which sucked. But, whatever you're doing that's real labor intensive or just, stressful, a good compliment that someone pays you can make you feel like $1 million. It can make you want to work hard. It can make you want to go further. And so when John, takes the time to just post little comments like that, that goes a long way. And I'm reminded of how when I go to other webcomic sites, I haven't been in a while actually, but when I used to go to webcomic sites, that was something that used to strike me as well, as how very little conversation there was about people's works. And again, we can see that people like our work tangibly, either through traffic or through revenue that we generate from our subscriptions and things like that. So we know that we've caught on with people. We get beautiful emails at times too, but just posting something on a forum, on our website or on Facebook, there's something about that that's tactile, because it is something that can be seen pretty rapidly, and then it can be seen by other people who are just checking us out for the first time, and it really just means something. It causes a sense of just I don't know. It's this real positive feeling. So we really appreciate it a lot. So that's I want to say that to John, and how much we appreciate that from John. But let's now talk about John's question. So John's question is in relationship to how do you get handled once you kind of pass through pilot manga or test run or writer's challenge. So number one, you are assigned an editor. That's number one. You are assigned an editor. So we do assign people editors. That's why we're always looking for new editors. but we do assign an editor to you, and they will work with you. If not myself, will work with you to essentially learn information about you and understand exactly, what you need to be successful. So we try to handle those things collectively, and the editor does as well, so we can kind of put together a plan to help take you to the next level. One of the things that I've talked about a lot is that every creator associated with Saturday AM, even those people who no longer are with us, we've certainly had creators who just didn't function best in the format that we're structured in. But they all own their own series. There's never a scenario where we were taking someone's series, and vice versa. No one's ever taken any of our materials. So we try to be as transparent as possible. I think again that's one of the kind of revolutionary things about us is that we're pretty open about who we are, what we do. I run the company. I'm as open as you get. I can be very blunt, as you all know, but I'm very upfront about things that we're doing and why we're doing what we're doing. We have a lot of strategy and a lot of secret ideas, but I'm pretty upfront about a lot of stuff, and so I say that to say that that no creator who comes to us should ever have the impression that their idea is going to get taken. On the other hand, no creator should ever come to us and think that their idea is perfect and we're going to publish it as is. That's ridiculous, and that's literally ridiculous. We will assign you an editor. We will work with you to strengthen the idea. We may publish you for some time and look at the data and say, you know what, we need to talk about your story. We want you to succeed, and so the bottom line is that we treat you like any real comic publisher would treat you. We care about the property, we care about your ability to attract fans, and we're going to work with you to develop that. And so to all those questions, yes, you have a great deal of control, but you're not publishing the work, so you don't have that much. You don't have total control. We do have an editor with you, and we do work with you to develop you as a creator and develop your concept into a series that can actually go the distance. So that I think answers that question from Mr. Mendoza. Likewise, they asked he asked about the storybook Saturday Tank, Volume 1, and that again should be available sometime later tonight, and that will run for that'll all the series that we have currently as pre-order should be coming out within this month, if not early November. So if you have pre-ordered, we'll be sending you information soon about when that book will be ready, but it'll be within the month. I can put it like that in terms of when you receive an email about it. Okay, so that's let's see, that's a couple of questions there. That was in. I'm going to check a few more places here. Just bear with me just a moment. See what are the questions we had. I know we had a few more questions that have been posted through there. Again, if you have questions for us, you can post them at the. You can post those questions at our Facebook fan page, or you can post it in the Google Hangouts Chrome OS browser. Has a Q&A application. You can do it on the Pilot Manga private page that we have, or you can do it on our website or our YouTube channel. So we've got quite a few ways that you can reach out to us. And so I'm going to check right now and see what other aspects of those we have questions for. Eventually we would get to the place where we actually can have live communication real time, but again, we're not quite there yet. So. Okay, so Tony Dawkins asked a very similar question. He asked a similar question to what we just heard from, to the one of the questions I just answered from Adele Rayonis, I believe, or Donis Rael, sorry. Mr. Dawkins says, is it okay to submit 2 test flights and only have 1 count? So again, no, it's not okay to do that. And again, and again, I understand kind of the reason why someone would ask that question, but it's always for me it's kind of funny because it's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous question, and Tony, I'm saying it respectfully, because essentially what you're saying is, hey guys, because again, one of the things that I think kind of I do find fascinating about webcomics, again, in the community, is there's a cluelessness that goes on within webcomics. So that, like I've said many times, and in these videos many times, we're not getting paid for this. This is not. There's a reason why other websites don't do this. All the stuff that we do, precisely the reason I say it's revolutionary is because it's not easy. If it were easy, then you see other people doing it. There'd be other Saturday AM magazines out there. There'd be other subscription models out there. They'd have 34 issues like we do out in the marketplace. There'd be a lot of things that you see us doing that everyone else would be doing. I'm confident there will be people trying to do them eventually, and I hope that they do. But the reality is that right now, it just doesn't happen in that way because it's very, very difficult to pull off. Now, when you've got a scenario like that where it's very difficult to pull off, the problem becomes that people then get this perception that, well, it must be easy. If you're doing it and you're doing it the way you're doing it, well, it must be easy, and it's not easy. So when I see this question from Tony, the perception is, and I know, again, I'm not picking on Tony here, but I do hope this just allows some people to get some perspective, is that, we're getting somehow paid for this, we have a lot of time, so that Tony can literally say to us, hey, look, I'm going to essentially waste your time on 2 submissions. I just want you to review one of them, seriously. The other one, if you don't like it, no big deal. We don't have the time for that. I mean, it's like we just don't have the time for that. So it's an interesting question, but again, it presupposes that we would actually be in a position to just casually address people's various submissions. Like we started Pilot Manga specifically to be able to review submissions in a way that would work versus people just randomly sending us comic books. So yes, so to answer Tony's question, no. If you're going to submit to one, submit to it. Don't try to do both. Just submit to one and be done with it, and put all your effort into that one. Because again, if we think that you're not putting all your effort into it, then the critique will be appropriate. Which some critiques are incredibly brutal. So that's that. And again, we're just one company. You guys can take our critiques and throw it in the trash can. Not that you get a physical critique, but and go to another website. I mean, I encourage you to do whatever works for you. But if you're going to participate in our stuff, just follow the rules. That's all I can say. Okay, so that was Tony's question there, and I'm checking just to see if there's anything else that we've got here. If not, then we'll try to wrap it up. So okay, let's see what we got here. Again, I want to thank everybody for their incredible patience. Like I said, I've been off my game tonight. I've been really off my game tonight. I'm normally a lot more energetic, but it's been a long weekend. The rain is pounding. I was up late working on the issue, and I've still got work to do on the issue and on the marketplace. So pretty crazy day. I do want to address a couple of things that were on our Pilot Manga, because there were a couple of comments there I did want to address just in general. So we had so in our Pilot Manga group, and again, if you want to join Pilot Manga, just go to Pilot Manga, go to the Saturday AM website, www.saturday-am.com. Look at the navigation window, and as you see here, and you'll see the Pilot Manga right here on the very right-hand side. Click that, and there'll be a section where it says Request Membership. It's not immediate. We'll vet you a little bit as best we can, and then we'll admit you if you feel like something's wrong with your request to join, or if it's taking too long, then shoot us a note. We'll take care of it from there. But so in our Pilot Manga group, which is private, so I can't really show stuff in there, we do get a lot of questions that come up from time to time there. One of them, Gary Alexander Lundy had posted a really nice piece of art that featured a naked woman. It was very natural, naked body, and someone asked the question of, okay, so Saturday AM doesn't publish that. Our whole motto has been that we don't publish things that are explicit, things that are over the top or gratuitous. So that goes for violence, that goes for language, that goes for nudity or sex. But in and of themselves, moments of those things are not things that we look at and go, oh, you can't do that. So again, I would hope that people who are looking to participate in Test Flight or Test Run or the Writers Challenge are doing so in the right mindset in terms of what we look for. We're open to all genres. We're open to all concepts and ideas. We're open to executions, but our only thing is that if we feel as if you're doing it in a way that is explicit and exploitive, in other words, it really doesn't have any particular reason to exist in the concept other than the fact that you want to be controversial, then we'll reject it, for that reason. So again, hopefully you're focused on doing it for the right reasons is the main thing. So that was one thing I did want to address. To that end, we had someone ask about gore, like the Berserk manga. If anyone's ever read Berserk, which is a fantastic manga, brutal manga, but Berserk, they were like, hey, can we produce gore and stuff in there? And again, my answer is, I'd have to see it, but this is kind of like I say to everybody when you're submitting material, instead of asking all the questions of what you can and can't do, try to tell a story. If you're telling a story and it works for the story, it truly has a reason to exist for the story, then do that. If you're asking us, if you're already, like Tony Dawkins did, if you're already trying to prime the pump, to kind of facilitate what probably is a ridiculous concept to begin with, then that already tells you that you're not taking this seriously. It already tells us you're not taking it seriously when you're already trying to find loopholes. If you're committed to telling a story, then you're going to tell the story. And if it's something that we think works, then it works. If it's something that we don't think works, well, then you told the story you wanted to tell. We just didn't get it, and so you can go somewhere else with it. But that whenever I see that, it always sends it always sends hazard signals to me. So please don't ask us a lot of questions that have to do basically with how you tell the story. Tell the story the way you're going to tell the story, and let the chips fall where they may. So that's what I would say there. There was another comment here from Kamani Jackson had made a point where he said, he felt he hadn't been posting art lately because he felt that his art he hadn't been feeling his art. He felt that it wasn't living up to his expectations. And he draws every day, no matter what, even if he finishes schoolwork at 3 a.m. But he had started many projects recently and dropped them because of it. First of all, this is so common. This is such a common thing, and so I didn't have a chance to write to Kamani Jackson, but I say this to all artists, writers who are watching this video right now. This is so common to feel down on yourself. This is why Pilot Manga exists, first of all. This is an excellent reason why Pilot Manga exists. And he got some great comments. I didn't have time to write him back, but he got great comments from other people in the community, including one of our superstar creators, and Christopher Crady, who told him, and Christopher is a phenomenal artist, and told him that he has the same sort of challenges at times. And everybody does. Every artist goes through those aspects of feeling like your work doesn't really matter and that's not very good. And so what I say to that, first of all, is to believe in what you're trying to do and take what you're trying to do seriously. And again, this is the difference between someone who's a fan of the business versus a fanboy or fangirl. I can guarantee you that when you're trying to tell a story about a Naruto idea that you've got, or a Final Fantasy idea you've got, or just whatever idea you're trying to tell, I know, because I know perfectly every time I see it happen when someone approaches us, when you're trying to tell a story that you don't really have investment in beyond simply trying to just tell a kind of fanboy version of Naruto or whatever, but you don't really have an original story that you believe in with your heart, then what ends up happening over and over again is that you get frustrated. You get frustrated. You don't finish the story. You get deep. You lose the momentum. And so from that perspective, the two things you have to do, number one, is just stay strong in terms of focused on doing something that is truly original. I can tell you from experience that when you're telling a story that is original, that you really have a purpose in telling, that it invigorates you, it challenges you, and you find yourself producing the content without concern about how people feel about it, because you know that it's driving your own personal sense of satisfaction. That's number one. Number two is that try to have people in your life who can build you up and who have your back. And when you create comic books, when you create video games, when you create music, it is such a lonely process. It is one of the few things in the world where you are literally in your own head. when you're writing, creating the next big manga hit like Apple Black or Clock Striker or something like that, so much of what you want to do is in your head. It's not like you're telling people about it. And again, that's what separates, again, fanboys from the people of the fans of the business, is that the fanboy or fangirl you can always tell because they can't stop talking about their idea. They can't show it to you because they haven't written it down, but they can't stop talking about the backstory. They can't stop talking about how cool it's going to be when 5 years down the road in this imaginary story that they've never actually told, 5 years down the road, this character betrays that character. That's when you know you're talking to somebody who's not a writer, they're not an artist, they're not a creator, they're a fanboy or a fangirl. That's when you know. Because they can tell you about it all day long. They can't show it to you. The torture of being a serious creator is that it sits in your head, period, until you get it out. And so you got to get it out. And that's the torture. That's the hard part. That's what makes it so difficult. So have backup, have family, have friends, have people who you can trust and believe in, who do believe in what you're trying to do, because that makes all the difference in the world. That makes all the difference in the world. I try to tell all of our creators who are featured creators with Saturday AM, I tell them, get in a relationship. Get in a relationship. If it's young girl, young boy, whatever it is that you're into, you can find. Get into a relationship, because when you're creating comics, it is such a lonely business. And it's such a long business, right? Like, no one gets rich overnight. Certainly none of our creators do. So you have to believe in what you're trying to do. You have to believe in it. You have to fight for it. And when you have that soul and that spirit, and you've got that solid back, you've got someone who loves you unconditionally, believes in your talent, and is willing to let you try, and willing to let you kind of struggle with the ideas that you can then have to put out. That's what you got to have. I've seen so many creators fail because they simply can't get their ideas out. It's tough. So, Kimani, again, you got some great responses from members of our Pilot Manga group. You're a talented artist. I hope you keep at it. To participate in the test flight, participate in the test run, put yourself out there. Again, the torture is not putting yourself out there. Put yourself out there. You've done it. We've seen your work in some things in the past. Some of the ideas weren't the best that you submitted before. You were working with a writer. So I would just say, take your time and put yourself into really put yourself into the effort with it. Try to find an idea that really works for you. All right, let's see here. We've got another question. We've got two questions. One from Mike Nagy. We've got another question from Andre Roberts. Guys, I'm going to be stopping this in about 10 minutes. So if you've got more questions, submit them now, because I'm going to be locking this down here in about 10 minutes. I think we've gone to the level that I wanted to go, so we're going to be wrapping it up here in about 10 minutes. Mike Nagy says, hey, Fred, great stream so far. Thank you, Mike. I have a question regarding test runs. After submission is sent in, how long will it normally take to hear back from you? So, great question, Mike. Let me answer that question in a couple of ways. Number one, let me say that first and foremost, let me get to a page here. I try to flit around through here so people can check out some of the other stuff that we do. So test runs, for people who don't know, are concepts where we basically say, look, give us a 15-page short story. It's got to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. It can't be basically like a part of the story that's part of your epic that you want us to put on our website. That's just because that's basically spam. That's basically spam as far as we're concerned. Just if you're a storyteller, tell a story. It can be the story epic that you've got, but tell a short story with those characters. Tell a story that actually, just shows us that you actually understand how to tell a story. And we did this because many people, who were in Pilot Manga balked at the Pilot Manga, the test flights, because they felt like there was too many rules. Like what I read to you tonight with the Writers Channel, they felt there was too many rules for them. So basically we were like, no, hey, here's a test run. Come up with 15 pages, do a short story that has these different elements in it, and we'll run with that. As long as it's got a beginning, a middle, and an end, and is solid, then we'll run with it. And of course, the challenge has been that people don't actually do it. We've actually had very few test runs, which doesn't surprise me because, again, I think a lot of the creators in webcomics simply, they're not motivated. Like, they're motivated by the idea of being a creator. They're not motivated by the actual reality of being a webcomic creator. The deadlines, the work, having to tell us an actual story with actual characters that doesn't necessarily look like Final Fantasy or Naruto or whatever. Those things are all lost. Those are all lost on them. So what I would say regarding test runs is that we haven't gotten a lot of submissions in, and we are holding them because we have been dealing with a lot of stuff with the debut of our marketplace, and then the issues that are coming out. It's been really tight for us. Now, we take a break every 5 issues. We take a break. So we will be taking a break after issue 35 for about a month. So after October, I think it's like October 16th or 17th, we'll take a break, and we won't return until middle of November, and then we'll go straight from there until the end of the year to wrap up Saturday AM for the year. 20 issues for the year. We ended issue 40 before 2016. So we're really excited about that. It's a lot of work, but we need that month off break just to kind of recharge our batteries and so forth. And so during that month off, well, there'll be no new Saturday AM, we will be running some of the test runs. So if you've submitted a test run, just hold tight. We'll be looking to run those starting in mid to late October. And we'll basically debut one of those a week is the idea, depending on if we've got the material. If we've got more, then we might run a couple of weeks. If we have less, we might run one every 2 weeks, something like that. Okay, I hope that answers your question, Mike. Andre Roberts says, if a submission blows you away, is there any chance it'll get published this year? Like if it's really different and unique and you really feel you really love it and it excites you, can it get published straight away and not in Plus panel, or is Plus necessary? We have done series that went direct. Remedium Plus was one of the rare titles that was so just fantastic that we ran with it into. Now, it didn't happen immediately, but we did kind of set up a timeline and then work with the creators very minimally. But it didn't go through Saturday Plus. It went straight to into our website. So the short answer is we can and will look at properties and evaluate them on a case-by-case basis. The reason Saturday Plus exists, I will say, is that what we find so frequently is that so few creators who are talented, as we've talked about, their illustrators are they're not sequential comic artists, or they're concept people. They have ideas, but they're not actual writers. Once there's a level past that. That level past that is that they can submit something for something like Test Flight that's not perfect, but it's still intriguing and it's really interesting. But then when it comes time to actually hitting deadlines, they can't do it. They can't do it. And so Saturday Plus is pretty much our ability to be able to actually, watch that process unfold and help train that creator into being able to actually hit deadlines. So that's why we have that. So yeah, I would be surprised if we took a series straight into the website, even if it blows us away. But again, it's possible. It's certainly possible. So okay, so there's that. Let me see if there's any other questions here. Again, wrapping up here in a few short minutes. Let me see if there's any other questions going on here. Okay. So not seeing any more questions, at least not on our Facebook page. I'm going to check one last area, which is our YouTube page, and it looks like there may not be anything there either, but we'll just double check that. Okay. All right. Well, so it's looking like that's pretty much it. I don't see any other questions there. I could very well be missing some, but I don't think I'm seeing any other questions there. So again, let me just recap. So our Writers Challenge is going on right now, and that Writers Challenge will run until until around October 17th, I believe. Same as a test flight. If you're thinking of entering the Writers Challenge, do understand that our objective is to help to make a change in the way we perceive writers. It's to help develop writers, and it's to find some writers for two very big up-and-coming properties. In fact, I'll show some artwork here real quickly. But we want to have a chance to show some really good. We've got some series coming that have phenomenal art that need writers, and so one of them, of course, was Chatulu Hernandez, who does God Arms. We're looking for an artist for that. The other is for a series that we have coming called Anim, and I want to show just a bit of Anim here in just a moment. So just bear with me a second. Let me prep that, and then we'll close out with that. If you are entering, if you're interested in entering that concept, then we certainly welcome that. All I'll say to that end, though, is that we can't and will not entertain people trying to participate in multiple contests. If you're gonna do the Writers Challenge, you're gonna do the Writers Challenge. If you're gonna do Test Run, you're gonna do Test Run. If you're gonna do Test Flight, then you're gonna do Test Flight. Each of them have different things that you get. And at the end of the day, our objective is to find a solid creator. So we're not worried about whether or not it's the perfect scenario, because every one of those has an opportunity to actually end up with you getting published in some form or fashion. So it should be something that everyone is excited about. But again, we understand that maybe some people won't see it that way. So that's why we have test flights for people who are really serious about putting together a comprehensive comic submission. Writers Challenge for people who are serious about coming up the writer, getting more prestige for being a writer and getting noticed by artists, and then Test Runs for people who just want to tell a story. They don't want to jump through all the hoops of trying to produce a test flight. They just want to tell their story and get noticed. And so, from that perspective, we understand that, and we're working to handle that. So the first thing I'm going to show you is God Arms, and this is one of the series that we're looking to try to place a writer for. So we're hoping that we get some writer support for that. Just bear with me one moment. I'll pull that up, and then I'll show some artwork from Monster Society of America by Christopher Crady, which is the new series that's debuting in this weekend's issue of Saturday AM. It'll be issue number 34. So get pumped about that, because that's going to be very exciting. And then I'll show work from Anim, which is the series that we are also looking for a writer for. Oh, that's right. Okay, so there it goes. Okay, so again, if you enter the Writers Challenge, you will be in a and you succeed with it, then what we'll be looking at is putting you in a position to where you could create, help create the story for the series called God Arms, which is by Chatulu Hernandez. Now, this artwork, and this is just some of his earlier art, Chatulu is one of the most talented artists that we have ever seen. We think he could be massive. We think the concept for God Arms is simply fantastic. So we think there's a real opportunity here for a fantastic story. It's got a great concept already, and the art is, this is, like I said, this is very early artwork. Chatulu's stuff is nothing short of gorgeous. So again, if you're serious about being a writer, we would hope that you would give that a look, because that is something that we're looking for a writer for, and we think can do very well. Conversely, we have Anim, which is from Jason Raphael. It's got a very much of a Miyazaki feel to it. Again, the concept is one that I am extremely excited about. I cannot wait to have this story published. Whereas God Arms is something that we're looking to have come out as an actual, as actually a series. Anim is meant to be an original Saturday Tank, so a Saturday Tank that is a concept in and unto itself. It's not something to be serialized within Saturday AM or our website or anything like that. Anim is big, folks. Anim is serious business. We are so excited about Anim. I can't even talk about it without any giving away too much about it. But this is something I'm personally engaged with, and we're looking for a writer to tell the story as well. So that is Annam, and then last but not least, I would like to take a quick look here at Monster Society of America, which is the upcoming brand new series. If you remember, we ran a test run of it, and Monster Society of America actually features characters who are, look at this beautiful artwork by Christopher Crady. Look at this. So I'm not going to put too much of it up because I don't want to ruin some of the surprises that happen. But I think I'll just show the first couple of pages here, and that's that. So that is that. That's about all I'm going to show. But Monster Society is a series that I'm also engaged with. I'm writing that series that is exclusively for Saturday AM, and Christopher Crady is an artist that participated in a test flight with us some time ago. Again, we didn't think that his writing was where we needed to be, but we knew his artwork was nothing short of next level awesome. So we've got everything set, and Christopher Crady is going to be just knocking the series out of the park. This is going to be a big series, and so we really hope you guys will check it out. It's not like anything right now that we've seen in webcomics. It's not like anything that we publish at Saturday AM. It's a bit more sanine. It's a bit more ecchi, a bit more violent, but it's all kind of Western storytelling with some Japanese kind of weirdness to it. So we're really excited about it. And again, so we're looking to try to find that talent level of art with writers who we think can really bring more substance to the concept. And so that's why we want to try to build our writers up. That's why we have the Writers Challenge, and we hope that you guys participate in it. So that's it. I want to thank everybody for checking us out. Again, we had some great viewership this evening. Thanks for tuning in. Again, I apologize for not having the most sophisticated setup that we could have for Saturday AM. We're getting there, but we still got a ways to go. And again, if you want to support us, and I do hope you do, please check out our website. Tell your friends and family about our website, www.saturday-am.com. Remember that we are focused on diversity, and that's a major hallmark of what we try to do. We want to take manga and make it for the rest of us, and that means more different types of creators. That means more different types of characters. That means more fresh concepts that are not just steeped in cultural anachronisms from Japan. So we're really excited about where we are. If you want to support us with that, check out our marketplace. If you have original ideas for our marketplace, you may submit your own and make money on the store if we approve it. And then likewise, subscribe. Just $5 for a 20-issue subscription. You cannot beat that as the best deal in comics. Whether you think that Saturday AM is the next Shonen Jump or not, you simply cannot beat the level of talent that we have getting that material in a quality, high-res PDF format, like most ebooks you would possibly get. They'd be in some protected format for just $5 a year. You can't beat that. Support our marketplace, buy our books, tell people about us, and participate. If you have a love to become an artist, if you are a fan of the business, then check us out. Check out our pilot manga and bring your voice to our little revolution. That's it, everybody. Thanks again for spending your Saturday night with me. Now go out, party, have a good time, get some drinks or get some coffee. Try to survive this incredible rainstorm we got going on. All right, that's it. Take care.